Hello, everyone, and welcome to our session today at the Festival of Innovation. We are talking about spectacular shows and entertainment and why they work and why they're so popular. So I'm really pleased today to be joined by Anna and Grant. Thank you so much for joining me today. Anna, can you just tell us a bit about Kynren and what you do there?
Thank you, Alice. Thank you for having me. So I'm the CEO of Kynren, an epic tale of England. And this is a live action show in the northeast of England. We have got 90 minutes of retelling 2,000 years of British history with a cast of 1,000 volunteers, over 150 animals, pyrotechnics, a soundtrack written especially for us. It's quite a spectacular show and it's really good fun.
Fantastic. And then, Grant, can you tell us a bit more about Aerial Illuminations?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, my name's Grant Reichardt. I run a business development for Aerial Illuminations, and what we do is we are a drone show provider. So we go around the United States and we provide large-scale shows to cities, organizations, theme parks, and we really bring just organizations' imaginations and dreams to life in the sky.
Fantastic. So, Anna, you kind of spoke a little bit there about the huge number of people and animals and performers that go into Kynren. So, can you tell us a little bit more in detail about it? And you're building this new theme park. So, how did you kind of start with a live show and move into a theme park?
So we started with a live show as a regeneration charity, really. The people out of this area coming together and creating a beautiful destination for visitors to come from all over England or even further than that. And we have now been running 10 years very successfully. We have a huge amount of volunteers returning every year, so we can completely rely on them, and therefore they're absolutely professionally trained, and it's not an amateurish show at all. Now, we want to create more of a visitor destination for visitors to hopefully stay overnight. So therefore, we're talking about building the theme park for next year. It's called a theme park, but it's really history retold in live action shows or immersive experiences. There is no ride involved. We are really excited about it opening next year and currently in build phase and crazy mode here.
I mean, it just sounds so incredible. Are you going to be focusing on kind of just British history, or will you be pulling stories from global history as well?
At the moment, we are concentrating on British history, myth and legend. There's quite a few bit of it quite locally, but with a relevance all over England or even further. Because we like to link the real history, maybe the real castle, the real sword that you can still see with our storytelling. And we feel that the combination of real and the beautifully, colorfully told story is easier for kids and grown-ups to remember afterwards.
Great. I'm going to come back to that in a little bit, I think. But Grant, can you tell us about any kind of recent projects that you've been working on, anything upcoming that you can talk about as well?
Yeah, for sure. So I think we're really gearing up for the holiday season, or the Christmas season, where we're preparing a large amount of shows just for that season. And we're in kind of the storyboarding process right now with a lot of clients where we're asking them what type of stories they want to tell. And the Christmas season and the holiday season is there's so much kind of storytelling around that. So it gives us these clients so much opportunity to utilize the sky as their canvas, where it's very much, we're just Nora, our creative director, is talking to these clients and really pinpointing exactly what stories they want to tell and bringing that to life. And then we're, of course, doing all these flight plans as well going in there. And as far as our long-term vision, we're really gearing up to be servicing all around the United States as far as doing drone shows for July 4th in the spring. And we're bringing a lot of these really incredible creative visions to life. And we're working with a lot of creatives. So it's very enjoyable for us. And as far as recently, probably the biggest project that we're really proud of is our 1,000 drone show in the Minneapolis area. And we were able to bring to life a portrait of Prince. And he's really important to the Minneapolis area and the Minnesota area. And that was probably one of the most exciting projects we've worked on recently. And just to be able to see like an icon of the music world and of Minnesota up in the sky was quite incredible.
I think what's really nice is both of you are sort of talking about how important the story is the foundation of you then creating these spectacular shows. And then also a sense of linking that story to a local community. So Anna, how do you decide what myths, legends, history you're going to choose to kind of best connect with the people who are going to be visiting?
So we do it very similarly to what Grant has just explained, and I have seen actually your show. It was very emotional when you saw it, and the music that was with it, I think, is really, really good. And it's all about the emotional attachment that we can give our visitors to that experience that they have, and that can come on all kinds of different levels. But for us, it's very important that anyone that lives in this area is proud of coming from this area. And that is something we have to work quite hard on. But we are getting there. So people can now say, I'm proud to come out of Bishop Auckland. And do you know we have Kynren, and come and visit it. And something really, really exciting to put that pride back in and the emotion into anyone that comes and visits us. We know that the story is really important, but the story, the name of the hero, we may forget in a couple of years or maybe a bit longer. But what we will remember is the emotion that we had when we saw it. So it is, for me, it is all about the emotional attachment to that storytelling and bringing that to life.
Absolutely. Grant, how do you, say with this Prince project, how do you work with handling the legacy of such an iconic person where everyone has very strong feelings about him? So how do you cope with that pressure?
I think it really is just like Anna was saying, where it's just really the goal is to make the local community very proud of what they're seeing and really tailor it to them. Where that's what we kind of did with Prince. It was very much working with his estate and working with the people of Minnesota, our client as well, asking them, what do you guys want to see? What are your thoughts on this? Where it's always a collaborative process rather than, just us designing on our own. With all of our drone shows, it's very much a collaborative process where we bring the idea to them, they bring ideas to us, and then we work on it together. That way, you're not on an island and you kind of get these different viewpoints. And let's say we're working with a specific city. They know what's special to those audience members. They know what is incredible to them with a specific theme park. They know what their fans and their audience would hold dear, and we just kind of bring that to life.
Do you have any issues with wanting to execute a vision but having issues with the technical side of the drone show, and how do you resolve that?
Yeah, there's definitely some, as far as limitations, where let's say we have a drone show where there's this incredible vision, but we don't have enough drones to execute it, or like the package that a client has booked, there's not like the drones to do like a full 3D display. And really that just comes down to our design team, where there's really incredible people, and they bring it to life through different avenues, whether it be animation, whether it be movement. And it's all about, how can we best utilize, the pixels that we do have in the sky. And it's really iterating, reiterating, and then bringing it to the client and showing them, all right, what do you think about this view? What do you think about doing this? And there's so many different ways to make it immersive. And of course, you're working in the physical space, so there are limitations, but I think that's the fun part. It's just the problem solving aspect of it. It's like, what can we do differently? How can we think outside of the box to bring this to life?
Absolutely. Anna, you do have some kind of special effects and technology that you use alongside the animals and the live performers you have. How do you mix those two together? I imagine it's quite an operational challenge.
Yeah, but we just actually absolutely love that aspect. We love bringing all of these innovative experiences together. We have, for example, done a show at the springtime with a drone company together. And we did something on stage, and then it slowly grew into the sky. It was magical. It's bringing together different ways of telling that story that we do a lot. So huge technical effect, but the technical effect is not there for the technical effect. The technical effect is there to enhance a live action show. and to make sense. And that's the same with the light effects that we do with any pyrotechnics. It has to be obviously very carefully timed, especially, but also trained with any animals that are around, or actors and children. But I think that is particularly the fun of my job, is combining all the different ways of storytelling within one huge spectacular.
Anna, do you do kind of seasonal shows to kind of bring new audiences in at different times of the year?
Yeah, so we do have a pyro musical in England that is for Guy Fawkes Night around the 5th of November. We did something for Locomotion #1, a festival of 200 years of trains transporting people. So we are doing some other things at other times, but because we are open air theatre and in the northeast of England, our times are a little bit restricted to when you want to sit in that tribune.
Absolutely. And Grant, you already kind of talked a little bit about the seasonal shows that you do, but are you seeing an increase in the need for those seasonal shows from your clients?
For sure. I think it really is. Drones are very much still an emergent technology where you see there's been a lot of early adopters the last couple of years, but we're seeing a greater emergence into, different areas, even small towns wanting drone shows now. So we're seeing that demand grow, and there's so many various regions in the United States with different holiday traditions, and they want to bring that to life in a drone show, and they're wanting to to really be able to display their creativity in the sky. So we're definitely seeing that.
So I think kind of seasonality is potentially one trend, but are you seeing any other trends or innovations, Grant, at the moment?
Yeah, as far as what I really see, as far as innovations in the entertainment and the kind of like the spectacular show realm, is really the integration of kind of like Anna was talking about, the integration of technology into shows so that it accentuates it, where where the main objective is not walking away, saying, how did they do that? It really is, oh my gosh, that made me feel incredible. That was so exhilarating. That was the most immersive experience I've ever seen. And that's kind of the goal of the drone shows as well. It's not really like, how are these drones flying around the air? More so it's like, wow, this is technology to the point where it's interacting me in the physical world, where I'm seeing this incredible 3D image up in the sky. Like, I'm seeing this logo or this character that in real life, and it's huge in front of me, and there's that wow factor that is really that's really there, where you're not questioning the technology as much, but more so just being like, oh my gosh, that's kind of the most incredible thing, just because of the immersion that is offered.
Absolutely. And you can't have that level of immersion if you don't center a story like you do with your shows, because otherwise people just see the technology first, don't they?
Exactly. Yeah, it very much is, that emotional resonance of drone shows allow us to personalize the show to a theme park, to an audience, where it's very much so, I get to see my city up in the sky, the logo or things that connect with me, with my city, stories from my city, or it's, these are these characters from this theme park that, I've loved as a child. I see it up in the sky and I see it brought to life. And that's really where the incredible feelings and emotions come from.
Yeah. And Anna, what sort of trends are you seeing?
So we experience that obviously money in England for entertainment is definitely short at the moment. But what that means is that families still want to go out, but they want to go somewhere where they can trust the money was well spent and we have a lifetime experience afterwards. So we, as in the entertainment world, have to make sure that whatever we're putting on is absolutely worth it and is meaningful for them to spend that money. And also it's all about immersiveness. When you're going out now as a family, you want to be engrossed in whatever is going on around you. So they want to meet characters, they want to be close up to the horses, they They want to really feel part of it, and even better if they can sometimes interact with that and lead the story. So we are creating a walkthrough at the moment where you can lead your own story while experiencing it. But if you feel that's one step too far, you can also just watch other people doing that. You don't have to do that. So that's also important. Not everybody is completely, I jump into this and I be this character and I want to do it. So it's the possibility for you standing back, but also being completely immersed. And just, this is what our audience wants nowadays, that when you are taking them away from their screen, the kiddies, they need to still have something really exciting to do rather than just on watching others doing it.
Absolutely. And are you hoping with the new park that you're going to be able to kind of entice people to come from further afield from both Britain and also potentially globally?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously have some global visitors already. Often when they have already booked a trip to Britain and then they see, oh, what's going on? Oh, we travel up there. Let's have a look at it. America is quite a big one for us because the Americans love history and they love seeing it retold in a specific way. We've had some from New Zealand changing their trip. They were supposed to be down south, but they decided coming up north because they saw us. But obviously that is a few families. That is not yet our audience really. And marketing in different countries is a complicated thing. But absolutely, I mean, the point is that once we have a full day attraction or even a 2-day attraction, that people come up here for a short stay in the northeast, and then they may go on to visit Scotland or go back down south, and that's definitely the aim. Yeah.
It's a really great way of bringing people to an area of the UK that they might not otherwise come to visit. People often will just come to London, won't they, and they don't want to go any further. But I think it's fantastic that you are sort of showcasing all these fantastic stories and legends, and sort of going, there's lots to see kind of in a different part of the country as well. And I think what you're saying about needing to give people value for money is really important, because I think sometimes you can take for granted that actually consumers and visitors are smart, and they will, if they don't think that they're spending their money wisely, they aren't going to come back, and they aren't going to kind of refer it to their friends to come along either. So having that word of mouth must be really vital for you, Anna.
It's really the best selling point, because you can't imagine necessarily, if you haven't been to a similar show like ours before, and not many have, you just don't know what it is. So we are absolutely reliant on the ones saying to you, look, you really have to go because you've never seen something like this. And you always trust a friend or family member more than me saying over marketing, oh, but you must come because we are wonderful. It really is that word of mouth, and it's that pride that people have out of the Northeast when they have seen this show. Anyone that visits them, they bring here because they just want to show off the best of the Northeast that they can. And that's what we are trying to produce for them.
And Grant, with the shows you do, are they often kind of long runs? Are they just a one night only thing? I imagine it might also depend on specific projects, but if you are doing it for kind of longer than just one night, I'm imagining you've got to approach that differently with the way you approach a project to kind of something that is, either a longer or shorter run.
For sure. Yeah, what you're seeing kind of with products that are shorter runs or just a one night only, it really is just kind of what are all the ideas. Let's just put them down. You do have to kind of whittle down some really great ideas and great images and animations to put in the sky. Whereas if you're planning a longer run, it really is like, all right, how can we every single night just wow each audience member? And what it really does, it gives you kind of unlimited creativity to go into each night and to say, okay, what story do we want to tell on each specific night? Are there any themes that are going on that we can celebrate each specific day? And it just gives more creative freedom. It's like it can be episodic too, where you're pretty much just storytelling in the sky. So it really gives you just an incredible amount of leeway, and whatever story you want to tell in the sky, you can do that with multiple runs. Whereas with one night, very much is just like, all right, let's just compress all the best ideas into one night and go with that. That's kind of how we operate there.
That's really interesting. And do you find, just like kind of from a marketing point of view for those one night shows, do you find it difficult to kind of let people know exactly what they're going to be experiencing if it's, say, their first drone show? How can you encourage them to come along and see this spectacular?
Yeah, that's a great question. Um, I think really what it is just, um, providing education and video clips on of previous drone shows of
Mhm.
it's that word of mouth too that Anna was talking about where one person sees it and they tell another person, "Oh, this is a great thing, you got to go." And it's also providing the client with enough media where they can put it on their social media platforms of like, this is what to expect. This is like the incredible immersive experience to expect here, and to kind of give sneak previews of you'll see your favorite character up in the sky, or you'll see this in the sky. And it's really kind of offering sneak previews through media clips, because that's kind of the best way we can kind of portray a drone show. And it's getting that first ever audience member to go for the first time, because when you see it for the first time, that's really when you get hooked, when you're like, wow, this is incredible, this is an entirely new experience that I've never had before. And after that, it's a lot easier to get repeat customers to come back. And when you do increase drone amount, you kind of add more pixels in the sky. That's kind of how you can, that's it's bigger and better. That's the approach for the second off the time they come through, where they're always getting a better show.
Absolutely. So we've talked about some really interesting trends, and I imagine that's going to kind of influence the future. But I'm interested, exactly where do you see the future of these kind of shows going? Because actually, drones are in the beginning of their technology, and Anna, you're doing something that is quite kind of unusual. So, Anna, do you see that this might kind of spread to have more kind of live experiences and shows in other attractions? And I guess, as well, is there anything, as you're building the new park, that you think actually this is an innovation that I really want to have so that we can do this better? Or is there anything that you're kind of learning as you go through that?
Yeah, I mean, when we come up with anything, there's always a wine bottle and a late night involved. So blue sky thinking is obviously the most exciting part of the start of a new show. What we are looking at very carefully is all the technology, exactly what Grant is doing. So how can we include new technology coming out there in our own way, telling our way of stories? And that is where it's really exciting. So for example, we will have an immersive, it's in the future, so, but we will have an immersive show, The Conquest of the Seas. So we are thinking about how do we immerse our audiences in an indoor and interact with that immersive space, but not just with screens, but also the real ship and also the actors and also water and, and everything combined. So we are keeping a really close eye on all the technology going out there. It's moving very fast at the moment. So we need to be really careful to be on top of that at all times. But that's when the real wow factor comes out. It is a bit, like Grant was saying, the first time you see it, it has to be a bit of a surprise. I didn't expect the story to be told this way. I didn't expect the emotions to be as strong as this. And that's where we are looking at very, very carefully what the future holds. But even so, everybody wants to reconnect with history. So we already have a big plus point, and that's very clear. Everybody wants to be more immersed and get an emotional attachment. So we are. I'm very sure that this is a way that also other shows will go, and there will be more live action shows in England in the future. And it's just nice to be one of the first ones to properly go that direction.
Absolutely, you are the trendsetter. And Grant, drone show is still relatively new. Where do you see the future of them going?
I think the future is wide open. Really, the technology is still in its infancy, so there's so many more leaps to come with the technology itself. Whether that be, utilizing, we've seen pyro drones really come up recently and be very popular, and just the drones themselves having different technology to, have different lights, whether that be lasers, whether that be pyro. We're also seeing drones being brought, potentially into other environments? Could we do drone shows in like smaller spaces? Can we do them indoor? Those are all questions that are coming up within the industry. And, making drone shows where really what it is this hologram, it's this 3D hologram that you can bring anywhere, and kind of it's pixels in the sky. So how can we bring pixels into any space possible and allow, different spaces, whether that be indoor, outdoor, and have these pixels interact with the real environment? That's kind of the future. And it really is a technology, like I said, that's in its infancy. So the future is wide open, and we're seeing incredible stuff done by our manufacturer. They did an incredible show recently where my socks were absolutely blown off, and I'm like, how is this real? And I think it's rapidly progressing, and storytelling, like, the first ever there's a story of the first ever film with trains, where people watched this and people were like, I think the story is that people ran to the back of the theater because they were so terrified of it. And I think that's what we're trying to bring to life with drones. Not exactly terrifying people, but it's that wow factor, where it's like, oh my goodness, that is a huge hologram in the sky. Is that a huge, is that a huge robot in the sky? What is that? It's that I can't believe this is real life moment. And I think drones are already there, and they're going to progress even more to that point in the.
It's really exciting to kind of see where you're going to be able to push those boundaries. And then just kind of as a final point, what is the biggest challenge that you're facing right now? Grant, I will start with you.
Yeah, I think it really is with a new technology. It really is the communication of it, and the assuring clients that this is, stable technology, this is safe, that we run safe shows. And I think with all new technologies, there's this trepidation towards it, where it's like, what is this? It is an unknown territory that you're in. So that's the biggest challenge, is going to clients and really assuring them, like, these are our safety procedures. These are stable. This is stable technology. This will do well. This is good for your organization. And giving them that assurance, and giving them the information that they need to be like, okay, this is solid. We can run with this. This is going to be great for our organization. And that initial educational, portion is kind of our biggest challenge. But it's also something that's very much privileged. It's great to talk about our technology, what we do, and it's a lot of fun.
Fantastic. And Anna, what's your biggest challenge, apart from the small task of building a new park?
So obviously we need to employ a huge amount of people, and finish the last planning applications and so on. We have had a huge amount of growth for Kynren in the last 2 years, over 40% more visitors, which is obviously incredible for us. But we still have to make this big jump of getting a huge amount of visitors in the Northeast. That is the reason why we're here in the first place, to make a destination out of it. So yeah, that's obviously a huge challenge, and I hope I can say in a year's time, well, we managed.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm really excited to see what you come up with for the new park, Anna. So hopefully everyone else is too, and everyone will flock to the Northeast to experience it when it opens. Well, Grant and Anna, thank you so much for talking with me today. This has been so interesting, and I think it just shows that actually these sort of spectacular shows and experiences are kind of gaining in popularity, and the future is very bright, I think, for wowing audiences with no matter what you're doing, and no matter whether you're kind of a small attraction, a larger one, or even just kind of a town that you want to celebrate. You can do something really interesting. So thank you both for your time. Thank you everyone for joining us, and we are going to announce the winners of the spectacular category for the Innovation Awards next, so do stay tuned for that. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
And now the winners of the Blue Leap Innovation Awards 2025 Spectacular category. Third place, Under the Midnight Rainbow from ECA2. Second place, Outdoor Kinetic Sculpture Puy de Fou from Laver. First place, Symphony of the Green Island from Laser Vision. Congratulations to all of the winners.